The INSTAX Mini 99 introduces a couple of major things, including new LED lights, control dials, a tripod mount, and some other things. But in adding these features, it did become just a little more expensive than usual. That being said, you may ask, is it worth it? Well, we'll get to that. But first, an unboxing. Here it is, the INSTAX Mini 99, and by every which way you look at it, it's obviously an INSTAX camera. Let me just give you a quick walkthrough of the device starting from the back here. The INSTAX Mini 99 still comes with a detachable battery, and there still isn't any way to charge it using the camera, so you'll have to use the included charger here. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, this is a new battery and not the same one on the Mini 90. Now let me just pop this back in and close it up. On the left, we have a pill-shaped display with 3 clearly marked buttons for modes, self-timer, and flash control. Let's move on to where the film cartridge goes. Hold on to the switch here, open it up, and ta-da! You'll see the LED lights. Yes, these are what's in charge of those color filters. To install your film, you just have to insert the cartridge into this slot, and then there's nothing really of interest here. So let's close it up and move on. Not forgetting that up here is the viewfinder, and on the side you'll find the film ejection slot where the photo comes out. And these 2 things beside it are where you'll be attaching your strap. Now flip it over to the other side and look what we have. It's a tripod mount, and something I am very happy about. I think combining this with a self-timer or burst, you'll find more ways to use this camera. Let's come back to the front and see what else is here. As with any INSTAX camera, you simply have to twist to turn it on. We have a 3-zone focusing on the Mini 99, meaning you can twist the lens 2 more times to change your focus range. The first is macro for up-close subjects, next is standard for up to 3 meters, and landscape, which extends the focus to infinity. By now, I'm sure you've already noticed this little switch here. Now watch the lens as I flip it. It's a manual vignette switch. Yep, you can now decide if you want that shadowy border or not with a literal flip of a switch. Let me now bring your attention to the shutter button, or rather, shutter buttons. The Mini 99 actually has 2 shutter buttons, and the other one is up here. So you have the option to shoot this way, which is vertical, or shoot this way, which is for your horizontal orientation. But now that we're here, let's talk about these dials. These are something completely new and doesn't just add functionality but also a little charm in my opinion, because it now feels like a tiny retro camera. The dial here on the left is to select your color filters, and the one on the right is to manage your exposure. We'll be going through what these look like in photos later on, but feel free to skip ahead if you want to. For your exposure controls, we have a total of 5 with D-, D, neutral, L, and L+. Now something I do want to bring up is that there is no lock on these dials, and they are prone to shifting around, especially during transit or when it's just hanging out in your bag. So it's probably good practice to always check your settings before shooting, or else you might end up with the wrong exposure or the wrong color. Let's turn it back on so we can check out the different modes. We have the usual indoor and sport, but we also have a double exposure and bulb for doing long exposure shots. Next is the self-timer button. I think it's not turning on because I don't have a film inside, but you will see a little icon once it's activated. I've already tried this and it's useful, but the thing is, you don't get any indicator light anywhere, so you'll have to mentally count down 10 seconds after pressing the shutter. Again, I think this will be very useful with the tripod mount, so you can actually get into some shots and not just be the one taking it. Finally, we have the flash button, which is pretty much the same. Flash, no flash, and red eye reduction. For this first set, I didn't use any color filter, so it was set to N. So these are the actual and natural colors you're getting from the camera. For our next set, I used warm tone or WT on the camera. As you can see, you're still getting pretty natural colors, but you do get this faded, hazy look instead. Same sharpness, but a lot less contrast compared to neutral. For our next three colors, interestingly, they're kind of similar. These first set of photos were shot with soft magenta or the SM filter. It lends a rosy hue to the photos and it looks really good on skin in my opinion. Though it is pretty similar to this next set of photos where I used sepia or SP. In real life, however, you will see that sepia is more on the brown or tan side compared to the rosy tones of magenta. Next, we have light leak or LL, which is also similar in terms of color, but the effect is much easier to differentiate. As the name implies, you get a light leak. And if I'm not mistaken, the position of the light leak seems to be randomized, but obviously most prominent on the corners of the photos. We have two more colors to check out, and let's start with faded green or FG. Faded green looks good, but it isn't my favorite just because skin tones don't render very well. I would probably use it on scenery or anything that would contrast its greenness. And finally, we have light blue or LB, which has become one of my go-tos. I really love the cool and subdued vibe that the photos get from it. Skin tones fare well too, and it works both in bright and low light. Now our next set of photos will focus on exposure. I've already laid out the first set and there are labels here to guide you as well. There seems to be a significant amount of change in stops for the differences to be evident, but remember to keep into consideration the camera's flash and surrounding lights when you do start adjusting exposure. It takes a little bit of experimenting, but combining this feature with everything else that the Mini 99 offers, there's just really so much room to experiment.
Now tell me if you agree with this. The Instax life isn't just about taking photos, it's about giving them away too. I personally find some kind of joy when I give away the prints that I take of people or the ones that I take with people. But of course, once they're gone, they're gone. It's not like photos on your phone that you can bring up anytime you want. But of course, you can take photos of the Instax prints, that's always an option. But if you want to do that, Instax made an app just for that.
It's really easy to use too. Try it out with me. Just open up the app and once loaded, tap on scan. Next, position your photo. Once identified, the app will automatically take a snap. You then have the option to adjust the edges for a better crop, edit the photos, add notes, or even add location info. Once you're done, you can see them all in your digital album, so you're free to share your physical prints now that you have a copy of your own. And if you really want another physical copy, Instax actually has a printer that can do that for you.
So I've been using this Instax Mini 99 for about a couple of weeks now, on and off, and I have to say that all in all, it is a very fun camera to use. It's definitely an upgrade from the Mini 90, which is supposedly its predecessor, but not officially, and it's definitely different from all the other Instax cameras that we have right now. It's still very much an analog camera, which I absolutely love, and the addition of all the features, the effects, from the light effects to the exposure controls, and I would like to see even the little tripod mount down here, if I can find, a little tripod mount here. It just adds to how you can use this camera creatively, and that'll make not for just more interesting photos, but more memorable photos, and that's what these are all about anyway, making memories, right? So it's the end of the video, and you guys know why I'm here. I'm here to invite you to subscribe to us here at The Modern Creatures if you haven't yet. And if you feel like it, go on ahead and follow us on our other socials. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, and probably everywhere else. That's about it for me. It's your modern creature, Vika, and I'll see you in the next video.